Let's turn to some economic news now. And the unemployment numbers for September will be released shortly by the Bureau of Stats. In fact, they've just been released. Let's bring in Ed Boyd, our business reporter. Economists believe 20,000 jobs were to be created. What was the number?
Yeah, Kieran, it's been a bit of a surprising increase in the unemployment rate during the month of September. The market was expecting the rate to reach 4.3%. Instead, it's actually lifted to 4.5% during the month of September. The other thing the Bureau of Statistics has done today is they have revised the August numbers up. So in other words, it's gone from 4.2% in August up to 4.3%. So the Bureau of Stats occasionally does this where they make revisions to previous months. You can see here on the screen, unemployment rate September is now 4.5%. Just looking at the release from the Bureau of Statistics, they say this is the highest seasonally adjusted unemployment rate recorded since November 2021. So in other words, we're at the highest level of unemployment in almost 4 and a bit years. There were 34,000 more unemployed people in September. The number of employed people also grew, up 15,000 in the same period. The participation rate, which is the percentage of people either in work or actively looking for work, did increase to 67% during the month. This is slightly below the record high. Here you can see the unemployment rate going back to April 2023. It was hovering around 3.5 to 3.7%, which was basically close to the lowest levels in about 50 years. Since then, it's slowly been rising throughout 2024. It got to 4% and has basically been sitting at 4.1% for roughly 12 and a bit months. But just in the past few months now, the jobs market has started bouncing around a bit more. You can see June 2025 there, it lifted to 4.3%, then went back down in July, and the revised figure for August 25 there is now 4.3%, and now in September it's crept ahead again to 4.5%. The ABS say a rise in both males and females seeking work contributed to the rise in the number of unemployed people in September. The number of unemployed males lifted to 370,000, while the number of unemployed females lifted to 314,000. Full-time employment was up by 9,000 jobs, and part-time employment rose by 6,000 jobs. Hours worked here and also increased by 0.5% during the month as well. So a bit of a surprising increase here in the unemployment rate figures that have just been dropped.
And the Reserve Bank obviously watches the numbers closely. What's your read on that? How will the central bank react?
Well, in their most recent statement of monetary policy, which includes very detailed economic forecasts, the Reserve Bank was expecting the unemployment rate to remain at 4.3% until around June 2027. So what we've got now is maybe it's a statistical anomaly for the month of September, but clearly the unemployment rate is slightly above what the RBA was forecasting. It really shows the jobs market is loosening up a little bit. It's obviously been incredibly tight for about 3 years. It's now starting to loosen up. So we should be able to show you the stock market reaction to today's numbers. The ASX 200, it was hovering at up about up about 0.5%. It's now, you can see there in the past few minutes, it's actually accelerated and surged higher, up 0.7%. We're potentially now close to an all-time record high for the ASX 200, or very close to it. In other words, investment markets believe there is now a better chance the Reserve Bank could potentially cut interest rates at one of the next 2 board meetings this year. Before today's figures came out, there was roughly a 40% chance of an interest rate cut in November. I think now with the figures showing the unemployment rate has gone up slightly, it might encourage the RBA to potentially cut rates at some point this year, as opposed to next year, which is when most economists had the RBA potentially doing 1 more or 2 more rate cuts. That might now have been brought forward by the loosening up of the job market that we've just seen in the past few minutes.